you're a founder of Keystone International, and it's not a typical international school. I gather that you are into innovation in learning, and that's
Right.
so nice to hear. And you started this KCITE, and it's doing amazing work. So, can you share some quick learnings from KCITE and what are the challenges that you still have?
Right, right. You mean for K-Site as a business, or what challenges do I see in the education that we are trying to address?
I think education. Yeah. Well, let's
Right,
do
right.
education.
So the fundamental idea behind starting Keystone, or even, the Keystone Center for Innovation also, is that in India there is this perception about education that there is rote learning, there is passive learning, and we
Yeah,
have to move away from that. And also, when there's so many new schools coming in, we have strong opinions on how public education system is, how private education system is. So when there is a problem in the public education, then comes in the private. And
yeah,
then today we have a problem with the private education. So I just felt, we are not solving the fundamental problem about how we have to really, create the school environments.
yeah.
Irrespective of whether it is a public or a private entity, the problems remain the same about how are kids learning in these environments, how
Mm-hmm.
are teachers being equipped, for these environments, and what kind of leadership trainings, do school leaders go through to run such environments. And it's like how the understanding by design approach says, right? It's a top down approach.
Yeah,
And we need to understand the big picture of our Indian education system. Yes, there is, this whole privatization and public conversation that keeps happening. But what I chose to work on is, we have this perception that, okay, if it is in India, then innovation schools, won't really work out. Parents have a mindset that they want to see grades, they want to see marks, only then it'll work. And at the same time, we have schools where there's a lot related to the philosophy,
yeah.
and then the perception that, okay, if you're thinking about philosophy based schools, then students are not academically strong. So,
Mm-hmm.
but what I fundamentally believed is, when we say learning is happening in the school, it is always a combination of that, academically you should be strong as a student, and at the same time you're developing skills. And these two are not separate components.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you take Finland education or some other developed countries' education, we cannot bring that model as it is here and say, let's apply this to India. Our context, our culture, the long history of how, we think and we work is different to another country. So I wanted to create a space where we say that even innovation works at a school level with very good frameworks of learning.
hmm,
And
yeah,
so with Idealoom framework, which is created out of my research, it's a project approach learning, and we have created a school. For me, Keystone is more like a lab where we
yeah. Nice to
created a
hear that.
school where anyone, it could be a public school or a private school, can see how they can also create learning environments like
Yeah,
this.
that was my next question. The learnings from your innovation experimentation, how can they be applied by others?
So the biggest challenge for any school to learn some from other, organization, or learn a new approach and implement, is their own time and timetable. They
Yeah,
fix it for the rest of their lives and think that is the only way to go about it.
yeah.
And this obsession that, oh, if I change this, then I can't complete the syllabus.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than looking at, okay, a grade 3 child has to learn this level of math. How else can I teach this? Maybe you can reduce those 100 hours of teaching to 50 hours with the best learning and teaching strategies. Right. So, in order for anyone to incorporate Idealoom approach into their school, all they'll need to have is open mindset and understand that learning comes from so many different spaces. just the teacher in that room and the book, and then those students cannot, aim at learning real world experiences just by sitting in the classroom.
That's true. That's true. I think a huge focus, as you rightly do, is on teachers.
Yes.
So interestingly, I also run a festival called Green Literature Festival. So
Wonderful.
yeah, so we have sessions on climate education for teachers. So
Mm.
that's taken on well. So the question to you is, how can you incorporate climate education quite effectively in your innovation model?
Right. So, again, the biggest challenge with anything that comes into discussion with schools is every concept is looked in isolation. We
Hmm.
say climate education, the school and the teacher is looking at, okay, I already am teaching science. Now, if I have to bring in climate education also, where do I give time? So, this whole isolation mindset towards thinking of something is a big challenge. What is more important is already the concepts that you are teaching has climate education in it, just that we are not delivering the content understanding from that perspective,
Mhm.
and whether we are giving enough opportunities for the students during your regular sessions to
Yeah,
think about climate, their immediate habits about climate action, their simple things, mostly it shouldn't be abstract, those regular daily routine things that they're working on and its impact, and giving that larger perspective. We call it, right, the local action and the global action,
yeah,
local knowledge and the global knowledge, bringing that connection to the content level, to the teacher's understanding, and then comes to the student understanding. Nothing can be directly directed towards students.
yeah. I think that's a fabulous point. So we need to train teachers to think that way, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also saw that you have students have come up with market-ready products, and you will
Right.
launch in August 2025. Just want to know where is it now, and have they really?
Right. So, what conscious decision that we have taken? These are still young children, and we don't believe in making claims that, okay, our kids are already having their own startups and running a company. They're still young. And I also believe in children going to college, having those experiences. It's more to learn about people. Sometimes it is not just about, acquiring knowledge. It's got to do, multiple experience around it. So there was, multiple opportunities that we could go to the next level once these market-ready products were coming in, and then the discussion about to patent it, to sell it. So what we decided is, how about, because every problem that we take is a community problem.
Yeah.
So we are currently working with Bala Vikasa Foundation. It's another NGO where we are going to give these entrepreneurial ideas and these market ready products to them, and they are going to identify the village entrepreneurs who are ready to take these models, make it their own, and have a value add into the community.
Yeah. So you also support some of the edtech
Yeah.
initiatives and firms.
Yes.
What's happening there?
So
Anything?
I'm an advisor there. Of course, there are, one is practice where this organization works towards, creating material for government schools that is more long lasting and experiential learning, And the other one is EdTech in social emotional learning. How can technology be used for well being, teaching in the, schools for children? And in any of these platforms, wherever I am as an advisor, the one thing that we try to bring in is that, because teachers are all one students, and whatever experience they bring to the classroom is their own experience as a student. That's the reason we don't see change happening that fast, or how schools and teachers struggle so much to transform. And if lot of, either instead of huge infrastructure, if lot of investment can go into teachers, I'm talking about training. Every school should have its own professional learning community. So having such PLC centers in each school and bringing that knowledge to them, and how do we empower teachers and also prepare next generation teachers?
Yeah.
After 10 years, we don't know how crazy things are going to be, but how are teachers are going to be prepared for that? So equipping that is, my approach in the advisory role.
The last question: how are you dealing with this deluge of AI and all this confusion in the education system?
Yeah, I think there's no confusion. It's very clear, right? That AI is going to be there and teachers are going to be there because children connect with humans more because they are born from humans. So how we, prepare either teachers or students, we are currently also working on a course. How do we teach teachers and through them to the students on how do you differentiate the human part and the AI part? Equipping for AI is never a challenge for humans. Like how 3-year-old you give him an iPhone, you don't need the child to be trained.
Yeah.
It's sometimes really silly when you're making students sit and learn about Word doc, how to type into an Excel sheet. I don't think so. Children really need that. They need to understand that technology is there as a supplement. I have a great idea. How do I use? And let's say tomorrow, after a decade, AI might not be there. There might be some really advanced another set of technology.
Yeah, yeah,
So the goal is never to, okay, now AI is there, let's all train everyone for AI. Now next thing comes, let's all. The goal is to, how can I enable any student or a teacher to understand the new technologies and create environments to actually use that technology? Only in the process of using it in the most efficient way we learn it and they understand and adapt it. So I think just being ready and open about whatever comes in and never look at it as a replacement for a teacher is the best way to go.
yeah, yeah. So, from Keystone's journey, how far have you come, and what are the
My
big
larger
big
vision,
goals? Yeah,
I think whatever I really wanted to do with Keystone in terms of the process, the nuances of the approach, and my goal is okay, if I'm not there sitting in the organization for the next 6 months, will it continue the way it had been set up? The process, systems, how can the biggest challenge more than all the other systems and programs is innovation?
yeah,
How can innovation continue to happen if the actual founder is not around, right? So that's a process that we have put in place. Of course, constant check and balance, and then understanding, and then whether it is continuing to happen that way. So we have established it very well so far, and all we are currently looking for is more and more students to be able to take advantage of this organization and platform. And but my urge and then my pain was always about how do we empower more educators to be able to do what we are doing with Keystone,
yeah,
around the world. And then with Ksite, we also met a couple of educators, who were learning through this model from Africa or from Vietnam, maybe just 2 or 3 teachers, but we could see that, there is more alignment in this kind of learning.
yeah. You're connecting with more than 2,000 educators. Yeah,
Yes, yes. We reached around 4 to 5,000 now.
nice.
Yeah.
So, all the best, Sri Lakshmi, for your
Thank you.
endeavors in education. Thank you
Uh,
so much.
Thank you so much. Nice talking to you.
Bye.